Hi everybody, this is Saphirre, your favorite French Canadian. Today I'm going to show you how to boost your FPS in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. A lot of stuff that you can change to optimize this game. So we're going to start with best setting for Windows, and after that we're going to look at these settings inside of the game. So let's start with Windows. So now the best setting for Windows for gaming. So first of all, we're going to search for game mode in the search bar. Make sure that game mode is activated for the past year. It's pretty good. You're getting a decent performance, and you're going to make sure that all your resources are focused on the game that you're playing. For the Xbox game bar, I still recommend to deactivate this one, causing stuttering, crashing in some games. So I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox game bar. And for the capture, make sure that the background recording is at off, and also the recorded audio is at off. Another thing that I recommend, it's the hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Make sure that you're searching for graphics setting. You will need an NVIDIA card, 1000 series or more recent. It will really help with bottlenecks. So if you have a 1050, 1050 Ti, 1060, even the 2060, you can expect a nice 2 to 5% boost. And also you can expect less stuttering when you're using that. So I really recommend to use that. Another thing that is really important, it's your driver. Make sure that you have the latest driver from AMD, NVIDIA, even Intel if you have an iGPU on your processor. So for an example here with AMD, you just click check for update and it's gonna show you if you have the latest one. You can do the same thing with NVIDIA. Another thing that I can recommend with the NVIDIA and AMD, they have an image scaling for the past a couple of months. From AMD, it's called Super Resolution, and for NVIDIA, it's NIS. I have dedicated video who's gonna show you how to use that and how to configure it. But to explain you quickly what it's about, so you need to enable this. So for example, I'm playing in 2K because my monitor is in 2K. I'm going inside of my game. I lower the resolution at 1080p, and the software will scale it back at 2K. And with this process, I can save 15-20% in my FPS. Also, you can do it if you have a 4K monitor and you want to do 1080p or 2K. You can expect a nice boost. The image quality will not be the same if you compare with native, but in some game it's working very well, and it's very tough to see the difference. So I recommend to use it if you're struggling with your FPS. Another thing that I recommend, it's your energy profile. So write energy in your search bar, go to power option. Make sure that you're running something like balance or high performance. On a desktop computer, it should not be an issue, but if you're playing on a laptop, really make sure that you're using that or a special profile for performance from your brand like Asus, Dell, or whatever. The thing is, sometimes when you plug your PC in the wall, unplug, using it with the battery, sometimes it stays at power saver and you don't want to use that when you're playing a game. So super important to be plugged in, and also to use a proper performance profile. Another thing that I can recommend, it's the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. This is a software made by the guy from DDU. It's pretty amazing, honestly. It will help if you don't have a lot of RAM in your PC. So if you have 4 gig of RAM, 8 gig, 12 gig, after that, you should be fine. Windows is doing the job properly. So it will free memory, and it's gonna make sure that it optimizes your standby list. So what I recommend normally, it's look at your total memory. Here in my case, it's 32. Just divide it by 2. So for me, it's 16. Just press start and it will run automatically, and you just lower the software like that, and you're gonna make sure it's optimized. So it's a really good software, and also it helps a little bit with stuttering. So I really recommend to use that. One last thing is I have dedicated video on my channel about overclocking CPU, overclocking GPU, depending on your brand and stuff. And it's pretty good because there are basic overclocking guide. I don't touch voltage, so it's pretty safe. You can expect sometimes 2% to 10% boost in your FPS depending on your thermal, depending on your component. But it's something that you need to look at too if you want to optimize your PC for the best performance. So now let's go inside of the game. So the first thing that I recommend to do is in the interface section, scroll down, and make sure that your telemetry is at all on for starting. You want to see your FPS, your MS, so your ping, if you have some packet loss, GPU temp. So all those information will help you to know, sometimes, is it the server is lagging? Is it me? Is it my GPU is overheating? So really important to activate that when you start to, mess up with your graphic parameter. After that, we're gonna go to graphic in the display mode. First of all, super important to play full screen. I don't recommend full screen borderless. I was getting some random stuttering with it. So super important, make sure that you have the proper display monitor. For the people who's playing with a laptop with an integrated video card, super important, make sure that you have your dedicated GPU over there. So I don't know if you have a 1060 in your laptop and also you have an integrated GPU, make sure that you don't see Intel over there. It should be your NVIDIA card. For refresh rate, also make sure that it matches your monitor. By default for me, it was at 60, so a bit odd. My monitor is at 170 Hz, so I just select 170 Hz over there. For the display resolution, I recommend to play native. You don't want any blurriness when you're playing this game, so super important, match the resolution of your monitor. And I don't recommend to go with dynamic resolution. It will mess up your visual when you will play the game, so put this one at off. Aspect ratio, I just go with automatic. It's taking 16:9. It's the aspect ratio of my monitor. I don't play with VSync at on. I have FreeSync technology on my monitor. So if you have FreeSync or G-Sync, you have to disable the VSync. You don't need that. Also, if you don't have those technology, it's question of preference. If you add your VSync at on, you will add more input lag in your game, but you will not have any tearing in your image. So really depend, does the tearing affect you? If not, just stay at off for your VSync. After that, I don't touch anything. Focus mode at off. I don't use my HDR, so I'm putting it at off. I have some fake HDR on my monitor, so I don't want to use that. After that, for quality, render resolution, super important, play at 100. You don't want to upscale or downscaling. Honestly, if you need more FPS after the old guide, use technology like the NIS from NVIDIA or RIS from Radeon. Super important, image scaling can help you a little bit with your FPS. It's pretty random. They add FSR 1.0 right now. AMD have the new version, the 2.0. I'm not a fan of 1.0. 1.0 is kind of okay when you're not moving, but when you start moving, I don't like the image quality. I saw a bit of improvement in performance when you're using performance or balance, 3 to 5% boost in your FPS, but I'm not a fan of it. It will mess up your visual, so don't use it. You have also the technology from my AMD, the sharpening. I recommend to go with 50. Just look at it. If you like it, you can go higher. If you don't like it, you can disable it or you can just go lower. The game is a little bit blurry without it, but I'm using it in my Radeon software, so I don't use it in Modern Warfare. But if you don't use it in your Radeon software, definitely do some testing over there. It will help you. For anti-aliasing, you just have two options. I recommend to go with SMAA to T2X, sorry. NURBY level of detail, I recommend low. Over there, you will gain a nice 4% boost in your FPS. After that, for the texture, you have two parameters over there. That's pretty important. You just need to look at your VRAM usage over there. Make sure that you have 10% empty. And when you hover on it, you can see that it will change your VRAM. So if you have 6 gig of VRAM and more, can definitely go texture resolution high and texture filter anisotropic at high. For the particle quality, I really recommend to go with low. It will help a lot to stabilize your FPS when some action is going on, explosion and stuff like that. You're sometimes getting some random drop, so this is probably because of particle quality, so go with low. Bullet impact, I'm using it at on. I really like to see where I'm shooting, so that's why I'm using it at on over there. For the shader quality, I'm using medium. Not a huge difference between medium and low, so that's why I recommend medium. But medium and high, you will see a decent difference, like 3% in your FPS. Tesselation, you can definitely go with near with this one. If you're playing with a very old video card like a Radeon 280X, don't use tessellation, just putting it at off. All those old GPU from AMD, they were struggling a lot with tessellation, so that's why I recommend to deactivate it. Texture streaming, just go with on. If you're getting some random lag and stuttering, deactivated. I see a lot of people right now struggling with this. Me, I don't have any issue with it, but if you have this issue, just disable it. For streaming quality, I recommend to go with normal. And after that, this is the part that you will gain a lot of FPS, the shadow and the lighting. First of all, the shadow map resolution, if I compare extra to very low, you can get 20% boost in your FPS. So this one's super important. Spot shadow quality, you can definitely go with medium. Not a huge difference between low and medium, but a big difference between high and medium. So go with medium and put your cache spot and your cache sun shadow at on over there. Particle lining, I recommend to go with low. Big difference over there, like 8 to 10% difference in your FPS, ultra versus low. So super important to go with low. Ambient occlusion, I recommend to go with off. You're getting a nice 8% boost in your FPS. The game will look a little bit flat, but you will gain more FPS, and also you will have better visibility when you will play the game. So that's why I recommend to stay at off. SSR, quality of reflection, super important to go with off. You will get some crazy drop in your FPS depending where you are in the map. So don't go with high for sure, just disable it. Post-processing effect will not give you a lot of FPS, but it's more about like clarity, good visual when you're playing the game. So depth of field, you want to deactivate this. All those motion blur also, you want to deactivate this. And you don't want to use any film grain, so put it at 0. For the view, you have the FOV. A lot of people doesn't know that, but your FOV will affect your FPS. So if you're putting your FOV at 120, you will lose a lot of FPS because this is the maximum FOV, as you can see over there. So also it's a question of preference. For me, I just play at 104. But if you're playing on like a very old computer or like a computer that struggles, start at 90, look at your FPS, and after that maybe you can go a little bit higher. And if you're still struggling with your FPS, just lower your FOV. So this is pretty much it, guys. If you have any question about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the guide, just comment in the YouTube section. Post me your rig, CPU, GPU, and RAM. I will try to help you the best that I can. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace.